Hi there. Welcome to Confidence Stories. This is all about people who've been there, who've done that, who know how it feels like to not feel confident, who have built it, who've maybe been set back over the course of their lives. And here's their experience, how it feels like, the tips, the tricks. It's about getting started. It's about why it's so worth it to hang in there, to build your confidence. I've been doing this for a year. I started it solo because I'm deeply passionate about confidence building and figured I want a better for other people because I've built my confidence late. And I did the therapy thing. I did the mentoring thing. None of this really did anything for me. And so I was lucky to have met, I was a coworker at the time and she is a certified coach. And so I was like, well, what's this thing coaching? I mean, heard about it, no idea how to approach it. Let's try it. Thankfully, she was really seasoned. And so she suggested, like she always would, 6 sessions. We've done that. And that was really, as I try and describe coaching now, it's like an accelerated light bulb journey.
Let me stop you for a second. Thank you for the summary. I can feel your energy just on this call. Okay. Yeah. So I can tell how much you've grown. Thank you for sharing your background because I can see this if I look deep inside you. And we just met, right? That you are a shy little girl. I can tell. Listen, I have a 21-year-old. Growing up digital, it's hard. I will tell you that that's a tough generation to go give confidence to. That's a really tough side because we haven't figured out all the outcomes yet of growing up with a phone in your hand. So yeah. I like what you're doing, but as you said, it does apply to almost everyone.
Yeah.
Almost everyone. And so you don't have to have major life-threatening health like I've had to get your confidence. Now, what I wrote to you is all very accurate, but just being a startup, I've taken 2 companies public. I do startups. I'm a technology entrepreneur. My confidence, it gets to be held in check every single day when you wake up out of bed, right? You wake up out of bed with a toothache, maybe your confidence isn't so high. So it's very interesting, but it also has to do with a lot of your upbringing. What I wrote though is really important. I just spent 3 years writing a book and I didn't write a single word. I dictated over Zoom to my publisher because I'm not a good writer. You have to know where your strengths are. And those Zoom sessions with over 150 people that were important in my life became my stories. And I'm sort of the maestro in the book. So I'm not the author talking at you. I'm talking amongst these other people that I invited into the conversation. I hope it makes my book different and more interesting. What I learned though, is that if you go into this and your confidence then starts to affect your daily health, you isolate, it gets dark, you get depressed, drugs could be, alcohol could put into it, violence, anger, all these sort of bad things can happen. And so what I did instead was when I got cancer, I reached out, not the first time, but the second time I reached out for help and I accepted help. I allowed people to help me, but you got to ask sometimes. The big light bulb moment for me that came after 3 years in my book was that you have to be responsible for yourself. And you've done this now. You started this whole project alone, and now you've brought in others, right? You have an inner circle, and now you're building the outer circle. And that's how movements are built. So it's very applaudable, but it's not easy because people get distracted. People have a million other things they could be doing.
For me, it's one of the key goals of the company, alongside actually setting out a path to make confidence achievable. The point of the company is also that myth busting, because we have the wrong role models right now for confidence. We have influencers who are not particularly relevant for confidence building.
You have a new prime minister that's a woman, which is fantastic.
But I mean, all I'm trying to say is I think part of the aim for me as a company is also to just myth bust, to actually set out what confidence actually is, to get us away. Obviously, that's a very lofty ambition, but to get us away as a society to celebrate the wrong behaviors, because they might make you money, great, well done, but they're actually disastrous for individuals. Say, for example, if you are someone who looks up to a Kardashian, it's not going to do you any good in terms of your mental health and your own. Not everyone will be a billionaire being on TV with the whole family. You will actually have to find that inner peace and happiness within yourself. And watching the Kardashians all day is not going to do that for you. So for me, the social impact is more important than the revenue in a sense. It has to, in the end, be both. But for me, it's about supporting the people that are most in need, which is the Gen Z. And yes, they're a tough crowd, but they're also the least confident, the least happy. And as you say, we don't even know half of the impact of growing up with social media and a mobile phone glued to your hand. And
I think that part of confidence is hope, positivity, gratitude. Some people look to religion and God for their confidence.
Yeah.
They pray every morning, right?
What does confidence mean to you? How would you define it for yourself?
Confidence is it's a lot of things, but it's inner strength to take on the day.
You mentioned earlier it's your job to sort of nurture your confidence every single day. I tend to refer to confidence also as a baseline, and you can have a low baseline, you can have a high baseline. Yes, confidence will fluctuate, but there's a difference in whether you generally have high confidence or low confidence. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that you can reach consistently higher confidence?
I think you can. You can grow your confidence, is what I think you're saying. It becomes about trusting yourself. If you're going to meet someone for the first time, you have a right to be a little bit nervous. Maybe you don't know what to expect. If you're going to see a buddy, at a bar for a pint, right? Maybe it's different. But I do think that it definitely is sort of like a moving scale. It can move up or down, and it's that trust in your inner voice and your belief to seize that day. Yeah.
Because we've talked quite a bit about really challenging sort of backstory. As you were growing up, would you say that you were always confident?
The answer is no, I was not always confident. When you're a pimply little teenager, you're going through secondary school and then high school, you're definitely not confident all the time. You're trying to make a sports team. You're trying to get good grades, and not everything goes your way. So what I talk about is your resilience. This is what you can build up. Your resilience also scales up and down.
How would you say confidence adds to your life? What does confidence enable you to do? If you didn't have confidence, you couldn't do.
Without confidence, you can't be your best self. It's a core part of your inner strength and inner self. And you can move mountains with confidence. Without it, you can't lift a pebble.
Is there a particular example that comes to mind when you say move mountains and can't move a pebble?
I'm a living example of resilience and confidence, because when you get a stage 4 cancer diagnosis twice in your life, once at 23 and then again at 50, getting back up again is one inspirational and remarkable, but it started with getting out of bed and taking that first step each morning. And some days were horrible. They were bad. I was on steroids. I was on treatment. But slowly but surely, I got myself back to exercising on the basketball court. You have to put those goals in front of you, okay? And you reach goals, okay? And confidence is not exclusive, but it helps you reach those goals.
What would you recommend to someone who is maybe currently in high school, or currently in college, or in that age group anyway?
You have to start, okay, with values, okay? Politeness, manners, knowing right from wrong, being able to make decisions, okay, moving forward, okay? And if you're not confident, okay, you might walk away from a potential amazing situation or meeting a potential amazing person, and your guard is up and you go through life scared. Going through life scared isn't how to actually enjoy this ride. This ride is not mapped out for everybody. It's a roller coaster, right? It's ups and downs. And so my advice, and growing up a daughter, right, is that you have to build up those experiences, and you're building, and your confidence will ebb and flow. Your resilience will ebb and flow. Your positivity will ebb and flow. Your happiness will ebb and flow. That's okay. It's okay. But what did you learn from that? And did you not repeat mistakes? And how are you forging forward? That's all that matters. Are you forging forward?
Probably the hardest part in building your confidence, especially if you're quite low in confidence right now, it feels scary. Is there any sort of other tip that you would give for that particular circumstance, to even just get out there and start believing in yourself in the smallest way, to kind of give yourself these little success moments that, hey, actually nothing bad happens. Actually, I'm actually growing. This could work too.
I love this question. So I'm going to sum it up for you and tell you that when you're in the low, you have to find your happy place. Okay. My happy place is on the basketball court, because I do not feel like a cancer patient. I don't feel like I have a worry in the world. For others, it could be going and trying out that new ice cream, that new coffee. It can be yoga. It can be cooking. It can be hiking. It can be, a lot of people attribute it to athletics or exercise. It doesn't have to be. It can be food, within reason. That new experience or something. Taking a walk with your dog, and then going and you're meeting up with another person with a dog. You have to find that happy place, because that happy place builds those endorphins, and the endorphins are what help move.